Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our Montessori Mondays live show. I am so excited for you guys to join us today. We are talking about the Montessori work period and how you can bring it into your home. So if you are here with me live, say hi in the comments. Let me know you're joining. And I am going to quickly make sure everybody can see this live by popping it into the announcement. So let me know if you're here joining live. If you're on the replay, give me that hashtag replay, and we'll go ahead and get started talking about that Montessori work period. So let me know. I know there's a few of you who commented on some of the Facebook posts I put up about this topic, but let me know if you're here, if you're struggling with kind of incorporating this work period into your routine, or if you're really just confused about what a work period is and how you can do it at home versus the classroom. So today we're going to kind of touch on three main points to help you get past that overwhelm and confusion when it comes to a Montessori work period. So let me know if you're here. I can see a few of you here watching, so make sure you let me know you're here in the comments. Someone saying hi. Good morning, Holly. Good morning. It is morning where I am, 9 a.m. here. I'm over in the U.S. It's probably Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. But if you guys have any questions throughout this presentation, you are more than welcome to just pop them into the chat, and I will answer them as I go through. I want to make sure you guys are crystal clear at the end of this of how you can start bringing that work period into your routine, into your home life. And we're also going to talk about the upcoming 4 Days to a Montessori Home Challenge more in depth, and I'll tell you about how you can get signed up for that for free at the end of this. So let me know first in the comments, do you guys practice a work period at home currently, or have you ever tried doing a work period before? Let me know in the comments where you're at. You've thought about it, you're doing it, you don't even know what it is. Wherever you are on the scale, let me know in the comments. That's really going to help me understand where you guys are that are watching live. And if you're on the replay, let me know as well. Let me know where you are at with the work period. And I always come back and answer questions for those of you on the replay as well. Let's see, someone is saying we are in the same time zone, Hong Kong. Yes, that's awesome. I love when there's people in the same time zone. So whether you're confused about that work period or you don't know the differences between home and classroom work periods, or you want to know when and how long your child should have access to the materials on their shelves. This is a huge one we talk about in the challenge. A lot of people get confused about, these work periods, having set work periods for the shelf, but then what about the rest of the day, right? Do they just have free range for the rest of the day? So that's kind of what we'll talk about today. And, I know it can be hard to really incorporate some of this stuff when you don't know a lot about it. So hopefully today we can break it down and you can give it a try and you'll see these benefits of a work period. So no, and I'd love to. Okay, awesome. So let's get you started then, right? I have three things I'm going to tell you today that are really going to help you start doing that. The first thing that I want to tell you in order to bring this work period into your home is having a set time, right? So if you have a routine, and there's loads of different personalities out there, loads of different families, loads of different cultures. A routine is not everybody doing everything at the same time. It's what your family's natural flow is, right? So at one stage of life, when you have young children, your flow isn't really like busy mornings getting ready for school and things like that, because your kids are going to stay home, or maybe it is busy and getting ready for daycare. There's just so many different ways routines can affect what we're doing at home. But for the purposes of this live and the fact that we're talking about work periods at home, I'm going to assume a lot of you are trying to bring that in throughout the week in your work periods. If you are a working parent and you want to bring the work period home on the weekends, this will also apply to you. So having that set work period is going to be very important. So if we're talking about our 5-day week, Monday through Friday, you don't have to do a work period every day. You could do it every other day. You could do it once a week if your child's really young, you know, and you can kind of decide when and your child is engaging more, they're concentrating more, they're really understanding the routine and they're craving more of that time, then you can start adding more work periods throughout the week. So maybe you would end up with 5 days of work periods. And you wouldn't start with, you know, a 3-hour work period, which is what they aim for in the classrooms for older children. But maybe start with 30 minutes, right? If you have a 1-year-old, start with just 30 minutes, putting it in your schedule when you think your child can concentrate the best. Maybe this is after breakfast. It is for us. Our children aren't tired then. They're really got a lot of energy. And sometimes that's not a good time for children, right? Sometimes they need to go outside, have a big play, and then come in and concentrate because they have too much energy. So depending on where you guys are with your children, their personalities, and your family's natural flow, I suggest doing it after breakfast. Give that a try. See if that works. Maybe move it around if it doesn't. But the main idea is having that set schedule for your work period. So when you decide, I'm going to do a work period Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 30 minutes, at 9 a.m. or whatever it is, then stick to it, right? Consistency at this age is huge, right? Almost like a lot of the solutions you're going to find are all about consistency. And having that reliable routine is going to help your child understand what's coming next, what is going to be asked of them next, right? So when they wake up, they're going to be asked to eat breakfast, then maybe get dressed, brush their teeth, or however your routine goes, and they get used to that. They expect that those are the things that are going to happen. And they can do the same with a work period. They're going to expect this is concentrating time when I sit down and work. It doesn't mean they have to sit down and do shelf work. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. You can do gross motor. You can do all sorts of different activities in this time. But this is a time when we're doing, and you can call it a work period with them, you know, so they know you've given it a name. This is a time and space when we're going to do this work, right? So let me know if you guys have any questions about setting up a routine. And let me know in the comments, when do you think would be a good time to start a 30-minute work period? And if your child's a little bit older and you think they might be able to do a 60-minute or a 90-minute work period, let me know in the comments. I know in the challenge, we really focus on, in the 4 Days to a Montessori Home Challenge, we really focus on following the child's lead and, you know, choosing those materials that are really gonna, you know, bring that concentration and build that concentration skill. And so this is really important to have that before you start the working period, to follow your child's lead, to find that material that they want to concentrate on so that you can have these longer extended 30, 60, 90-minute work periods. And I'm going to drop that link for you guys to join the challenge in just a little bit, but let me know in the comments you know, what time of day do you think would work for you to have a set work period? Now, the second step that I want to kind of tell you guys about today is having set undivided attention time. So this is so important with all children, but especially important if you have more than one child at home, right? They're craving that undivided attention. And it's so important to make sure that you're giving that time to them separate from the work period. So they're not trying to pile all their needs into one, you know, 30, 60-minute session every day. Instead, you can have 10 minutes of undivided attention. Maybe you call this like mommy and me time, whatever it might be. But if you have time for that 10 minutes a day to do that outside of this work period, then they're not going to, this is going to be different for every child, but they're not going to need as much attention from you inside of that work period time. So you might find that they actually want to be independent from you in that space, and they want to concentrate on their work when they're not seeking your attention in that time. So this is a really important habit to get into for our children, and to fill that attention bucket that they have, right? Fill that up so that they can move on throughout their day, fulfilling all these other expectations of them, knowing that, you know, they've got their attention bucket full. Let me know if you guys have ever heard of that before, the attention bucket. I know I talk about it in the Montessori Learning Center a lot, and it really does, for anyone having any sort of like behavior problems, this really does a really good job at kind of moving out of that space and out of that period of frustration between you and your child. So in the 4 days to a Montessori home challenge, of course, we talk about this as well. We're talking about, you know, following your child's lead and making that space for them in your home, but also, you know, in your routines. Okay, so the third way, I can see some comments coming in, but I'll go over the third way now, and then I'll go to your comments. The third thing that I want to talk about today when we talk about the work period is kind of that confusion between, you know, the work period work and the free play work. So when we do the 4 days to a Montessori challenge, we ask you to set up shelves and a play area for your child in the main living space. We do this because a few reasons. You want your child to feel like they're belonging in their own home, and this is their space where everybody else has this space in the main living spaces where you all hang out, and they get to bring their stuff and they get to hang out there too. And it's a really big, you know, filling up that belonging bucket is really important. So when you do bring that stuff into the main living space, you bring their shelves. This also allows for you to do other things too. You know, as a parent, you have responsibilities around the house, and maybe you're working at home, whatever it might be. This allows to let that happen a lot more naturally. But the main thing that is important with bringing your shelves into the main living space is providing that independence for your child. They can independently choose to walk up to the shelf and play with something or engage with something or work on something whenever they want, right? They don't have to ask you to open a door. They aren't scared to go in a room by themselves. They won't feel lonely in a bedroom or a playroom. They'll be in the main living space where everybody else is, and they'll have this free range time to play. Now, this free range time is separate than a work period. During a work period, like I said, if you do 30 minutes or 90 minutes, whatever amount of time your child is capable of, this is a time when you would be doing any sort of presentations for materials, or you might be helping or just observing and seeing where their interests lie. You would be making any prepared activities, like practical life. Maybe you make a snack in that time. All of that would be in that space, right? And outside of that work period space at home, this is just going to be free play. They are allowed to play with those shelf materials any time of day, but your attention will not be there outside of the work period. They will have to independently play outside of that work period time. You're kind of giving them that during this work period, I'm here to help you if you have questions. Obviously, you don't want to do all the work for them, but you are there. You are there observing, and you are there, you know, setting things up and presenting if they need it. Outside of that time is this free range play, and they're allowed to go to it. And it's a really good thing because they're getting that independence by having the freedom to decide what they want to do outside of this time, right? Okay, and in the challenge, this is a huge thing that we talk about on day 4. We talk about prepared environments on day 4, and this is, you know, pretty much the entire thing we talk about is, you know, getting, excuse me, learning the difference between, you know, what's inside a work period and then what's outside of the work period. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that 4 days to a Montessori home challenge link for you guys really quick. For anyone who wants to sign up, we're getting started on April 26th, and this is going to be such an amazing challenge. We've obviously done them before, but for anyone who hasn't heard of it before, we we go through the main living space and we create a space for your child. We help you understand what observing is, what following your child is, how to do a toy rotation, and how to sort what you already have and use what you have for Montessori instead of, throwing it all out and starting from scratch. And then we talk about the prepared environment and how to maintain it. So if this sounds like something that you need, I invite you to join us. Everybody is welcome. I can see someone saying, I have joined the challenge before, but can I join that again? 100% yes, you can join again. We always have repeat challengers. I even do it on a cycle because I feel like as your child gets older, especially between the 0 to 3 age, they need so many different things. And so you need to kind of do that decluttering process of their space and kind of start over and really realize, okay, well, that's what they wanted 6 months ago, but actually now this is what they want, right? Because I've observed and I've followed. And I know everybody who does the challenge a second, third, fourth, or fifth time says they always learn something new. So definitely join us again. And let me just see here. I've got some comments coming in. I have not heard of the attention bucket. I love that idea though. Yes, I think that's a positive parenting idea. You have an attention bucket and a belonging bucket. And Montessori to me just fills those so well. The belonging bucket specifically for the 0 to 3 age, they have this strong urge to want to be, belonging, and all the practical life that Montessori suggests doing really helps your child fill that belonging bucket. Okay. What time of day or where in your routine do you typically have mommy and me time? So for instance, in our routine, in our home, we have, with my 5-year-old, I can do the mommy and me time while my son naps, while my 2.5-year-old naps. So that works out really good. Then it gets a little bit more tricky when the 5-year-old doesn't nap and you have the 2.5-year-old. So you have to kind of make the different times, and every family is going to be different. For us, it's easier for my partner and I to just take and do 10 minutes each and then swap and do 10 minutes each if we find, they really need it. I was really strict with it for a while, and then I kind of fell off. And we stopped doing it, or we did it, every other day instead of every day. And then I realized there's all this, shouting and yelling going on. Things aren't really working out for me right now. What is happening? Why is all of this, attention seeking behavior happening? And I was like, oh my gosh, we haven't done that for a few days now. What I completely see how this is so important to my child. They need to fill that bucket. And if that attention bucket isn't full, they're going to find their attention another way. So it 100% works, especially in my home. Let's see. That's a good reminder. Undivided attention. I'm struggling with that since I am working from home. Yes, 100%. And seriously, 10 minutes a day, you can find 10 minutes a day to just book it in and just make it a habit, right? If you make it a habit, then you're good to go. And your child, you have to do it at the same time every day, because your child is going to, like we talked about earlier in this video, your child's going to look forward to it, right? They need to know it's coming. And at this young age, they don't know time. You can't say, in 5 minutes or at 3 o'clock, what we like to say, at nap time or after lunch or after breakfast, right? So they know when those things are, because those are naturally consistent things in your routine. So you can naturally put things before them or after them or whatever it might be to help them understand when it's coming. And then once you get it into a habit, they won't be worried about when their attention's coming, because they know it's coming because you've been consistent with it. Okay. Is everything they do independently essentially work then? Gross motor, shelf work, practical life. Yes, so that's what Maria Montessori would call play, right? Work is the play of the child. So yeah, that is, even if it's outside of the work period, they can still be working on something. It's mainly, how would I explain it? It's like prepared work that you purposely put out for your child. It's purposeful work, right? So you've observed your child. You've observed them doing this, so you put out this activity to help fulfill that, need for whatever they were doing in your observation. So that's work because you're following it. It's purposeful, right? Hopefully I explained that right. During the work period, the parent is pretty active of the child's needs. So during pre-play, is that the time they would play more independently? 100%. Yep, exactly right. So during the work period, you're switched on to being, the parent and the guide, right? The parent and the teacher. You're presenting the materials. You're trying to observe them. The main thing, at this young age is observing them. Are they using the material right? Are they using it wrong? Are they using it and concentrating for a long period of time? And then with those observations, that's when you can move to finding more things like that or more challenging things like that to keep that concentration protected and growing. Okay, is there an age when child is typically able to focus and work on activity for 30 to 90 minutes? So a common misconception in Montessori is that when we talk about a work period, you're asking, I think you're asking, that they would work on one specific material for 30 to 90 minutes. Yes, some children do, concentrate on one material for 30 minutes, but it's not just one material, right? This is the misconception. A lot of people think it's one material. It's actually the whole area, right? So maybe you have a pickler triangle in your room. That's still part of the work cycle, right? Your child might be huge into gross motor. Those newly 1-year-olds who are trying to learn how to walk, that's all they want to do is move, 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 move. That can be part of your work cycle, right? Your work period, that should be part in there because that's what you're observing and that's following their lead. So it doesn't have to be one puzzle that they're doing for 30 minutes. They can do the puzzle and then put it back and then do something else and put it back and do something else and put it back. And then maybe if you're doing a 90-minute work period, maybe you do at 60 minutes, you guys do a practical life activity that you've already prepared and you set it down and you peel oranges together, right, to have a snack. That's all in the work period, right? That's all in the work period. And it's different things, different activities. It just keeps your child concentrating, right? So it can be hard and tricky, especially when your child's younger, like I said, with the gross motor, but you can do fun games inside as well. You don't have to go, you can incorporate a walk or something like that, but really the work period, you want to try to start doing it in the work period area, by the shelves, in the, even in the kitchen, you can call that a work period area because that's practical life. So if you do have that gross motor child who's really just wants to move you, there's so many different games you can do for language. You can talk about animals. Maybe you hold a picture up that's like, what does this animal do? And you can practice jumping and bouncing and doing all the things the animal does or animal noises. And that maximum effort work, maybe they're moving things around, big jugs of water around to water plants or whatever it might be. All of that can be in the work period as long as it's purposely put there for that work, right? Because you've observed your child and you've filled that time with things you think they might be interested in. Hopefully, okay, perfect. That totally answers my question. Awesome. Okay, let me know if you guys have any more questions for me. And yeah, I think that I would love to have you guys join us on the 4 Days to a Montessori Home Challenge because we really deep dive into all of this, into the work period, especially on day 4. So if you are already signed up, make sure you come to day 4 for more information like this. And we also have an amazing pre-challenge party to look forward to, which we're doing Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. So there's still time to get in. And if you join the pop-up Facebook group and you make your welcome introduction, you get entered to win one of the giveaways, which is one of the MLC curriculums, one of our themed curriculums. So I'm so excited to be giving that away. And inside those curriculums, there's heaps of fine motor, sensory, gross motor, practical life ideas. So definitely would be awesome to get your hands on to help fill these work periods. All right, I don't see any more questions coming in, but if you do have more, I'll come back through on the comments for anyone watching on the replay and answer those for you. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.